Hi friends! So as usual today, we'll be making a dessert that doesn't require any special equipment. So no mixer, no oven required. I was lucky enough that my sister found a box of dates just lying around and she asked me to make it into a dessert. And well, a lot of different options ran through my head, like, food for the gods, which is a favorite. Another idea that popped up was a sticky date pudding with toffee sauce, primarily because um, sticky date pudding is a British dessert that was really made for steaming. And so I thought it would be a perfect dessert that people with no oven could easily prepare. So, so there, guys, super yummy dessert utilizing dried dates. But if you don't have dates lying around and you think you're gonna have a hard time looking for some, I'll give you an alternative option that uses bananas. So it's like a banana pudding with a toffee sauce. Yeah? Alright, so let's get started. Okay, so let's talk steamers. Now, steamers are usually these deep bottom pans with a steam basket like this one. So the holes in the steam basket allow the steam to rise. You put the water underneath. So this is where you put whatever it is you want to cook. Now, it can be shallow like this, or the steam basket could be a bit deeper like this one. So either one would work for our purposes today. Now, if you don't have a steamer, you can get a normal stock pot like this one. Put in an oven-safe ramekin or an oven-safe bowl. Fill the sides with water and then put in an oven-safe plate or whatever platform that is oven-safe. Make sure that there is space between the sides of the stock pot and your platform to allow the steam to rise up. So this is where you're gonna put whatever it is you're steaming. Of course, you're gonna need the cover of the stock pot to aid in the boiling and steaming of the water. So if you don't have an oven-safe ramekin, another option actually is to get 3 pieces of foil and then roll it into balls. Put it in the bottom of the pan and use that as your makeshift platform. And this is where you put whatever you need to cook or to steam. So this is something that you can do with a normal stock pot. It's a makeshift steamer. And you can actually use this for our recipe today. So for today's recipe, we will be needing 300 grams, which is about 1.5 cups of chopped dates, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1 cup of boiling water. As an alternative, you can also use 1.5 cups of mashed bananas with 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, in which case you won't need the water anymore and the baking soda will be mixed directly to the batter later on. We will also be needing 1 1/4 cup all-purpose flour, 1 1/2 teaspoon baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 6 tablespoons butter melted, 1/2 cup brown sugar, and 2 eggs. For the toffee sauce, we will need 1/2 tablespoon of vanilla, or if you're one of my boozy friends, you know who you are, you can also use 1 tablespoon of your liquor of choice, like rum or bourbon. We'll also be needing 1/2 cup of light corn syrup, 1/3 cup of heavy cream, 1/4 cup of butter, and 1/2 cup of brown sugar. So to start with, we will get our baking soda and sprinkle it all over our chopped dates. After that, we will pour our 1 cup of boiling water making sure that all of the dates are covered by the water. And we will let this stand for about 15 minutes to help soften the dates. So after 15 minutes, we'll start mashing the date mixture using a fork. Or if you have a masher, then you can use that as well. So we'll keep on doing this until the consistency resembles that of mashed bananas. If you have a food processor or a blender, you could also actually puree this. But I personally like having some clumps of whole dates in the steamed pudding. And so I'm going to stick with my fork just so that it's not completely liquefied. So after doing it for some time, we see that most of the dates have been mashed and we have come to a consistency that's very similar to mashed bananas. And so we'll set this aside as we make our main batter. Making the main batter is fairly easy as we just need to mix everything in this one bowl. So we start off with getting the melted butter and mixing it with our brown sugar. And so we whisk this together until the butter and sugar are fully mixed. After that, we'll add in the eggs and continue whisking until the sugar has been dissolved. Afterwards, we will add in our date mixture. Or if you're using bananas, this would be the time to add in your bananas as well. So again, we'll mix this until everything is thoroughly combined. So next up is to mix our dry ingredients. So this has the flour, the salt, and the baking powder. If you're using bananas, you can also add in the baking soda now. We'll do this in 2 batches. We'll put in half of the dry ingredients and mix it until everything has been fully incorporated. We don't see any more flour on the surface, and we don't see any more lumps of flour in the batter. So we put in the rest and we continue mixing. Again, since we're doing everything by hand, we just want to make sure that all the flour has been dissolved in the batter and that there are no more lumps. The only lumps you should be seeing are the dates, basically. After we're done with the batter, we take our baking dishes. So I'm using ramekins and we grease it with softened butter. So I'm just brushing on softened butter so that it will be easy to remove from the baking dish afterwards. After greasing all of my ramekins, I will now fill it with the batter. And we don't want to fill it completely up to the rim because the batter will rise and expand in the heat. So we'll fill it about 2/3 of the way. Then let's just try to level this off using our spatula and smooth the top a bit. Now we want to prepare the pan for the steamer, and we do this by getting a piece of parchment paper and a piece of foil, and then we just basically wrap it tightly around the baking pan. And this is really to protect it from drips of steam coming from the cover, and just really to more efficiently trap the heat inside. So our steamer is now ready. Make sure that the water is boiling before you put in your steamer basket with your baking dishes. We'll cover this up and wait for about 40 minutes to an hour for the thing to cook. Please make sure that there is water always in your steamer. Please don't ever let it run dry, so add more midway if you need to. While we wait for the pudding to cook, we will make our toffee sauce. And this is fairly easy. We just need to combine all of the ingredients for the toffee sauce, including the brown sugar, the butter, the light corn syrup, and at this point we'll wait for the butter to melt so that we can also start melting and dissolving the sugar. So we just continuously stir this. And we add in the vanilla or the liquor of your choice. So once everything has melted, we add in our heavy cream. And we whisk this until all of the cream has completely mixed in. And we wait for this mixture to boil. So after a few minutes, we see that this has begun to boil, and we allow it to cook for a little bit more before taking it off the heat. So we give it a bit of a stir, after which we'll turn off the heat, and then we'll put it in a separate container to cool down as we wait for the pudding to finish cooking. So the actual time it will take to fully cook this dessert will vary depending on the size and type of pan that you used. So I myself used a 6-inch ramekin that fit in about 1.5 to 2 cups of the batter, and it took about 45 minutes to fully cook it. But a good way to see if it is already done is to stick a toothpick in the center, and if it comes out dry, then you're done. And so there's nothing left to be done but to plate the dessert, and this will actually come off of the ramekin pretty easily, especially because we greased it pretty well. And so we just put it on there, and then We drip our toffee sauce all over it. Enjoy, guys!